I received a letter last month from a man named David. He's 43 years old, works in middle management at a logistics company, and he wrote to me at 2 in the morning. He said he couldn't sleep because he'd just run the numbers again, and the numbers told him what he already knew but didn't want to face. At his current savings rate, if everything went perfectly, no emergencies, no surprises, he might be able to retire at 72, maybe. He has 2 kids in high school, a mortgage that still has 19 years on it, 2 car payments, and a job that pays him just enough to keep him showing up, but not enough to ever feel like he's getting ahead. He wrote that he feels like he's been running on a treadmill for 20 years, and the speed just keeps increasing while he stays in exactly the same place. He ended his letter with a question that I think about often. He asked, "When did working hard stop being enough?" I've thought about David's letter many times since I read it, not because his situation is unusual, but because it's so common. There are millions of people just like David, good people, hardworking people, who did everything they were supposed to do and still find themselves trapped in what we call the rat race. And I want to talk with you today about that trap, not to discourage you, but to help you understand it well enough that you can avoid it or escape it. Let me tell you what the rat race really is. The rat race is a system where you trade your time for money, and then you immediately trade that money for things that require you to keep trading your time for more money. It's a closed loop. You get a raise, so you buy a bigger house. The bigger house has a bigger mortgage, higher taxes, more maintenance. So now you need that raise just to stay even. Then you deserve a new car because you work hard, so you take on another payment. Every single thing you acquire comes with a chain attached to it that leads right back to your job. The cruel trick of the rat race is that it disguises itself as success. You're making more money than you did 10 years ago. You have a nicer car, a bigger house. From the outside, it looks like you're winning, but inside you feel more trapped than ever because your expenses have grown just as fast as your income, or faster. You can't quit because you need the insurance. You can't take a risk because you need the steady paycheck. And the system encourages this. Our entire economy is built on the idea that you should borrow from your future to consume in your present. Now I want to be clear about something. Working hard is important. Building a career is important. The problem isn't the work. The problem is when people confuse working hard with working smart, and when they confuse earning money with keeping money. I've known people who made $50,000 a year and retired comfortably. And I've known people who made $500,000 a year and couldn't stop working because they spent $600,000. Here's what I believe. The key to escaping the rat race isn't earning more money, though that can help. The key is changing your relationship with money entirely. You have to stop seeing money as something to spend and start seeing it as something that can work for you while you sleep. When you earn $1 and spend $1, that dollar is gone forever. But when you earn $1 and save $1 and then invest that dollar into something productive, something remarkable happens. That dollar starts earning its own dollars, and those dollars start earning dollars. This is compounding, and it's the most powerful force in finance. Let me give you a real example. Suppose you're 25 years old and you save just $300 a month. That's $10 a day. You invest it in a simple stock market index fund and you leave it alone. The market returns about 10% per year on average over long periods. If you do this from age 25 to 65, that $300 per month becomes about $2,800,000. You will have put in $144,000 of your own money. Compound interest created the rest. If you waited until 35 to start, you'd have about $1 million at 65. Still good, but you'd have given up $1,800,000 by waiting just 10 years. Time is more valuable than money when building wealth because you can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. But here's where most people make their biggest mistake. They save money for a while, watch it grow, and then something happens. They see something they want, or they feel like they deserve a reward. So they take the money out and they tell themselves they'll start again next month. But what they've really done is killed the compounding. They've taken the seeds out of the ground right before harvest. The real discipline isn't saving money. The real discipline is leaving it alone. It's understanding that every dollar you take out today is really $10 you won't have in 20 years. It's having the patience to be uncomfortable now so you can be comfortable later. And I know that's hard, especially when you're surrounded by people who are spending everything they make. But the ones who look the richest today are usually the ones who will be the poorest tomorrow. And the ones who look ordinary today, who drive old cars and live in modest houses, they're often the ones who will be genuinely wealthy tomorrow. There's a concept called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the most dangerous threats to your financial freedom. Lifestyle inflation is what happens when your spending rises to match your income, no matter how much your income grows. You make $40,000, you spend $40,000, you get a raise to $60,000, suddenly you need to spend $60,000. I've seen this happen to very smart, very successful people. The antidote is simple but not easy. You have to decide what enough looks like for you, not what enough looks like for your neighbor or some person you follow on social media. What enough looks like for you. How big does your house need to be? What kind of car do you actually need? Once you've defined enough, you stop there. You stop upgrading, you stop comparing, and every dollar you earn above that line goes straight into your freedom fund. It goes into investments that compound and grow and eventually buy back your time. I've lived in the same house in Omaha for more than 60 years. People ask me why I don't live in a mansion or own a yacht. The answer is simple. Those things wouldn't make me any happier, and they would cost me the thing I value most, which is freedom. Freedom to spend my time how I choose. Freedom to work on what interests me. Freedom to say no. Real wealth isn't about what you can buy. Real wealth is about what you don't have to do. It's about options. It's about being able to walk away from things that don't serve you. It's about sleeping well at night because you're not worried about next month's bills. And the paradox is that the less you need, the wealthier you become, because wealth is really just the gap between what you have and what you need. I want to talk about fear for a moment, because fear is what keeps most people in the rat race long after they could have left. They're afraid of what might happen if they stop spending. They're afraid their friends will judge them. They're afraid they'll miss out on experiences. They're afraid of looking cheap or poor or different. But here's what I've learned. The things people are afraid of losing are usually the things that are costing them their freedom. David, the man who wrote to me, he's afraid that if he doesn't give his kids everything their friends have, he's failing as a father. But what he's really doing is teaching his kids that happiness comes from stuff and that you should always spend what you make. He's training them for the same rat race he's trying to escape. The greatest gift he could give them isn't a bigger house or newer cars. It's the model of someone who lives intentionally, who saves consistently, who understands that delayed gratification isn't suffering, it's strategy. Let me tell you what happened with David. After I wrote back to him, he sat down with his wife and they had the conversation they'd been avoiding for years. They looked at everything they were spending money on and asked themselves a hard question. Does this bring us closer to freedom or further from it? They found that most of their spending was automatic. They'd been doing things for so long they forgot why they started. They had subscriptions they didn't use, insurance they didn't need, habits that cost money but brought no real joy. They made some GEs, not radical changes, not painful sacrifices, just conscious choices. They decided to keep their cars for another 5 years instead of trading them in. They cut their discretionary spending by 30%, which felt impossible at first, but turned out to be easier than they thought. They started saving 25% of their income and they automated it so the money moved to investments before they could think about spending it. And something interesting happened. Within 6 months, they didn't miss any of it. They were just as happy, maybe happier, because for the first time in 20 years, they felt like they were moving forward instead of just running in place. Now, here's the important part. They're not going to be millionaires next year. They're not going to retire at 45. But they will be okay at 60, and they'll be comfortable at 65, and they'll be free at 70. More importantly, they'll spend the next 20 years feeling like they were in control of their lives instead of being controlled by their bills. That's worth more than any car or house or vacation. I know some of you are thinking this sounds too simple. Save money, invest it, leave it alone. Wait, where's the secret? Where's the trick? And I'm telling you, there is no secret. There's no trick. Building wealth is simple. It's just not easy because simple doesn't mean comfortable. It means doing things today that most people won't do so you can live tomorrow in a way most people can't live. The thing about escaping the rat race is that it's not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's a direction. Every single day you're either moving toward freedom or away from it. Every dollar you save is a vote for your future self. Every dollar you spend thoughtlessly is a vote to stay exactly where you are. And the beautiful thing is that you get to vote every single day. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start and then keep going. I think the reason so many people stay trapped isn't because they can't escape. It's because they're waiting for the perfect moment to start. They're waiting until they pay off this one debt or get that next raise or have a little more cushion. But that moment never comes because there's always one more thing. The truth is, the best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. If you're young, you have the most valuable resource in the world, which is time. Don't waste it. Don't spend your 20s living like you're rich in your 60s, wishing you'd saved. If you're middle-aged and feel like you've wasted time, don't waste more time feeling bad about it. Start now. You can't change the past, but you can absolutely change your trajectory. And if you're older and worried it's too late, it's not. It's never too late to make your situation better than it is today. The path out of the rat race is simple. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Be patient. Avoid debt except for truly appreciating assets. Don't try to impress people who don't care about you. Define your own version of enough and stop there. Let compounding do its work. That's it. That's the whole formula. It's not exciting. It won't make you rich overnight, but it works. And it's worked for every single person who's had the discipline to follow it. I'll leave you with this thought. The rat race isn't something that happens to you. It's something you participate in, and you can choose to stop participating anytime you want. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need to wait for circumstances to change. You just need to make a decision and then honor that decision every single day. Your life is happening right now, not next year, not when you get that promotion and OT when things settle down, right now. And you can spend it running on a treadmill that goes nowhere, or you can spend it walking steadily towards something real. The choice has always been yours. It will always be yours. Choose freedom, choose patience, choose your future over your present comfort. And I promise you, 20 years from now, you'll look back at this moment as the day everything changed.